Hola amigos, welcome back to another episode of La Vida Verde podcast. I am your host, Matthew Human, here at Finca Vida Verde. My guest this week is Chef Alejandro Corral. Alejandro is we call him Alex. He is a world-class chef originally from Mexico City. He is the founder of Choco Tours, which is right here in San Mateo. It's an amazing chocolate tour, which I've been blessed to be part of. And he is also a server and a friend. It's going to be a great conversation. Get ready to go deep with some chocolate. Pura vida. We hope you enjoy. Okay, Chef Alex, welcome to La Vida Verde podcast.
Muchas gracias. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's an honor. I've met you just recently, this year sometime. I met you at the farmers market, the Ecoferia, and you had your chocolate, and I was amazed because I thought I knew a lot about cacao and chocolate.
Yeah.
But you were teaching me so much in this short period of time.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have you on the show. So one of the things you told me originally is you are originally from Mexico City.
Yes, that's correct. I'm from Mexico City. I lived there for 25 years. I studied social communication sciences. Huh. I was into production for a long time, video shows.
Oh, really?
Yes. Used to rent ABA equipment and
that's
big
funny.
shows. Yeah.
I didn't know
Then
that.
I got tired of that, went to Argentina, and decided to cook professionally.
So you started cooking in Argentina?
Well, I was cooked all of my life, but there I started cooking for third parties, so to say, yes. But I used to do, Mexicans, we do 200 people parties any Tuesday, so.
I don't know that, but now I do, I guess.
Well, now you do.
That's how it works there, huh?
Yeah.
Big parties.
Big parties. Then I came to Costa Rica, and I fell in love with cacao. I tried the fruit, I tried the seed. I had never tried this before. I started chocolateria in Argentina. If you're a chocolatier, you're going to start working with a block of chocolate called coberture. You never have access to the seed, much less to the fruit.
In Argentina?
Anywhere in the world. In Belgium, and you go to Paris to learn chocolaterie, you're going to start with coberture, not with beans. So this bean to bar, the fruit itself, it's amazing. And I love the cultural part, the ecological part, the social part as well. It's fascinating. You can study about cacao for the rest of your life.
It's just everyone we actually should probably say, because not everybody knows, and hopefully most people do now because it's becoming common knowledge, but chocolate is made from cacao bean. It's a tree. We grow it here. It's a kind of a small shrubby tree actually, but they put these pods out that are like this, and inside is you could probably speak more to it, but... Well,
you tried it a long time ago.
This is the basic of... Yeah, but the basic is that, there's a processing that goes through it, and if you want to know that process, I highly recommend going to the Choco Tour, which is here right outside San Mateo.
Yes.
And so how long have you been here for?
Well, I've been in Costa Rica for 10 years. I've been running the Choco Tour for 8 years. We were close to La Garita before. We were very close to Suave. Then, the pandemic hit. It was a rental place. We had to give it back. At the same time, I had the chance to acquire this piece of land here.
Oh, great.
And when we moved here, this used to be a cattle ranch, cows, grass, Roundup, badly.
Yeah.
So we are regenerating the forest. This is what happens behind the cameras at the Choco Tour. So we get people, do the chocolate thing, everybody's happy about it. But the resources we get are for a regeneration program.
Amazing.
Yes, I'm doing a food forest with cacao especially, but with any kinds of plants, yes.
So let's back up a little bit. I want to talk about how... So, you obviously... I did some research on you. You obviously have a deep reverence for, ancient Mayan traditions. That didn't come from Mexico City. That came from Costa Rica.
No, from Mexico. When I was a kid, I was backpacking through the Yucatan Peninsula, any pyramid I could go to, any astrological event I could go to, rituals, etc., etc. It was my life. I used to do videos about it, yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, you uploaded?
No, there was no uploading anything.
It was
It was tapes and cutting tape with a knife, actually, audio tapes.
It's so interesting because our last guest was actually a videographer who he started right at the beginning of YouTube.
Okay.
And so you're like the generation pre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was your passion? What was your passion around doing that? Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just something that gets into you. Whenever I was a kid, my dad take me to a pyramid. It was like so energetic, so marvelous, so mysterious. So I fell in love with this. My face paid travel job related ever was as a photographer in Chichen Itza for 10 days as an astroarchaeological mission. Yes.
So we did. I was gonna ask you about Chichen Itza because I was invited to perform at this festival on the December 21st, 2012. It was the end of the Mayan calendar, the transition,
Yes.
before the day out of time, and we actually had like I was under this impression. I didn't know what was going to happen. There was like, Nikola Tesla, or not Nikola Tesla, who was it? Nostradamus, I think, predicted that December 21st, 2012, there was going to be some like massive like end of the something or other. I remember reading about that in school, and then like, so when I got invited to be at Chichen Itza for that, like a Mayan, major Mayan center, which is, that's the end of their Mayan calendar.
Yes.
Which is a lunar calendar, right? And then they have 364 days and then 1 day out of time every year, and that's kind of but Chichen Itza, wow, what a crazy place.
Yeah, this is a fantastic place.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Chichen Itza is not only Maya, it's the fusion with the Toltecs. Yes.
Wow.
The Toltecs are the second empire. There were three empires: Teotihuacan, Tula, the Toltecs, and then the Aztec. The Toltec were all the way down here in Costa Rica. Yes.
The Toltec.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, first the Olmec. The Olmec came all of the jade trade that happened here was the Olmec. Then the Toltec came all the way down here, especially to Nicaragua, the lake of Nicaragua. The little islands called Ometepetl, two hills. Yes. So they were here. If you go to Rincón de la Vieja, you will find their evidence as well.
The Toltec.
The Toltec,
and they came
yeah.
from Mexico.
They came from Mexico. Yes. This is the real Quetzalcoatl, the guy, not the god. He was kicked out of his land, of Tula. He runs away. He goes to where the sun. He goes to the coast and says, "I'm going to embark to where the sun rises," but that doesn't happen because that's way too far.
Right.
So his boat turns around and lands in Champoton in Yucatan. So he conquers the Mayas, and then he builds places like Chichen Itza, like Mayapan, like Petén Itzá. This is Maya and Toltec. It's mind blowing.
So Quetzalcoatl, the man, was Toltec.
Was Toltec, yes, from Tula. We know exactly where he was born.
I've never knew all this. This is really fascinating.
Yeah.
And so from these travels, you became connected towards like corn and chiles and cacao.
Sure. Yeah, well, this is my traditional food. Yes, we've been eating corn and chile all my life. The cacao thing did change because what we know about cacao is what the industry has been telling us. Yes, even as a professional, you have no idea about the seed, about the fruit, about how to process it. This was done industrialized. Nowadays, we have the little chocolate machines that arrived into the market maybe in the 90s. So this gave birth to a huge race. Small machines, 2-kilo machines, the melangers, that allow you to do chocolate at home. Before this machines cost $350. Previous to the little machines, the smallest machine was 35-kilo machine for $35,000. Yes.
So, and what does it do actually?
It's a stone grounder.
Oh, a
stone
grinder.
grounder is going to be working for 3 days in a row until you get
the paste.
The paste of the exactly.
Ah, interesting.
And some chemical changes that happen.
To you, that's what you use for your chocolate.
Exactly.
Oh,
yes, so we have some of these machines. Yes.
So, and what were you? You mentioned you were a chef. Like, so you went from travel blogger to Argentina and you got involved in chefing. And then you were running or working at a restaurant in Mexico City?
No. I had a restaurant in Argentina. This is where I became a chef.
Okay.
And I did catering. I did like 2,000 people events, 150 people every week. It was really nice. Then I got to Costa Rica, and the catering thing didn't work for me because the Costa Ricans, they will not hire a chef to do a party because the aunt brought the pollo and the cousin brought the cervezas. There's no need for it.
It's a different culture here.
It's a different culture.
Right.
And at the same time, I fell in love with cacao. I was in a La Fortuna, the rainforest chocolate tour, and the guy said that chocolate was invented by the Spanish people in 1519. My liver started to implode. And I called him. I called the owner. Said, "Why do you say this?" He said, "Oh, because I don't like Mexicans because they're better at football and soccer than we are, and I hate Mexicans."
That's why he just decided to lie to all his clients.
Well, to not say it, yes. But I'm like, okay, you have the Bribri here doing cacao for thousands of years. You have the Maleco. You have everyone. This is part of the Costa Rican culture. So I decided, my catering thing's not doing well. I saw this guy was doing very well with his business. I'm gonna say it not correctly but as correct as I can, based on research, based on real evidence. Sure. Yes. So yes, it's mind blowing.
Wow. And the Bribri, so the Bribri had a culture around. I don't know much about the Bribri culture with cacao.
Well, the Bribri are all of the people in Costa Rica except the Chorotegas. They believe that one God created humanity called Cebu, and he's the god of cacao. We're made with cacao. Everyone else in Mesoamerica believes that we were made with corn. Yes. Corn and cacao are the two sacred seeds. Yes, you put them together in a drink, you have the best food in the world.
So, Cebu, the Costa Rican god of most of the indigenous, all like the Huetar, the Bribri, the
Maleco, everybody believes in. The only ones that don't grow cacao are the Chorotegas. The Guanacaste. There's no way to grow cacao in Guanacaste.
So they all grew cacao, and they believed that cacao was the most
sacred. If you look at the Bribri diet, they do not even grow corn, which is unique to Mesoamerican people, because corn is the base of everything. They do not grow corn.
Right. I remember I took a Bribri tour out in the Caribbean, and they were talking about, they fed us traditional foods. I mean, it was mostly like very starchy, like chiquisque, yampi, yami, like yams, like very heavy starchy tubers.
Yes.
And also iguana.
Oh, nice. Iguana's nice. Well, I was there. They hired me. This place called Bribri Lodge. They got a grant from someone, $50,000, under the condition they had to make a very good touristic place. Hired a nutritionist and hired me to teach them dish design, how to present their dishes to the people. So I go there, nicely dressed. Okay, let's start with the dish design course. Where are the dishes? No, we use no dishes. We use banana leaves.
Banana leaves.
Like, okay, that's weird. We cannot do this. So, and where are the ingredients? And they're like, oh, the ingredients. We forgot the ingredients. 6 people walking around the garden like yours. They come back and give me like 50 different ingredients I've never seen in my life. And I'm like, okay, forget about the dish design thing. What you're going to do is put a table with these ingredients, with their name, and you're going to tell the people you're going to eat this and this and this today. And that's what they're doing now. It's mind-blowing.
Maybe that's the place I went to.
Probably, yes.
It was like
you have to go in a boat and then take a bus.
No, I never did that. Well, we were already in the Caribbean, but no, we didn't have to take a boat. So it's all the way in Bribri.
It's in Bribri. Yes,
no,
you cannot even drive in there. You have to take a little boat and then take a bus. And
and for those of you who are watching that don't know Costa Rica very well, Costa Rica culture, Bribri is like one of the main indigenous cultures out on the Caribbean side, primarily all the way down into Panama, and they have this whole massive indigenous reserve called the Peace. What's it called?
The Amistad, no?
Park of Peace.
Yeah. It crosses the border. In fact, it's in Panama and in Costa Rica at the same time.
And it's just this massive indigenous reserve where there's people, living traditional ways. I'm sure there's still a lot of like coming in and going out, and there's connection to get. It's easy to get in and out, and not easy, but it's they come in and out.
Now they do. But back in the day, these people, they were never found by the Spanish people. They went up into the high Talamanca forest, never to be seen again. This is such a dense jungle. There was a plane that crashed from Argentina 50 years ago, not to be found, not even with satellite technology, yes. So these guys, they were so remote, the Spanish people couldn't find them and enslave them, so they had to bring slaves from Africa. That's why we have all of this Afro-Caribbean people. Right. They had to import slaves because they couldn't find Indians to work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, very.
Yeah, so the Bribri, they kept their language, their tradition, their medicine. Curiously enough, not their religion. They are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Really?
Really, yes. I was like, what?
The Bribri are Jehovah's Witnesses?
A lot of them are, yes. The ones that I met, they don't have their own traditional religion.
No birthday parties for the Bribris.
I'm not sure how that goes, but
no,
anyway.
The Jehovah's Witnesses, one of their hallmarks is that they don't celebrate birthdays or holidays. They don't celebrate things. That's,
okay.
Yeah, it's part of their like. Yeah, anyway.
No, I'm the opposite. I celebrate.
Yeah, I know. I celebrate every day. Every day's Tuesday.
Butterfly flying. Ooh.
Actually, it's Friday. Hey,
better.
Yeah. Very cool. So you were chefing, and then you ended up coming to Costa Rica. You became very passionate about cacao, and then you started your place in La Fortuna. And now or not La Fortuna.
In La Garita.
La Garita, which is about an hour, 45 minutes north
It's like
of here.
13 kilometers from the airport.
Yeah,
it was a
close.
really nice place.
And now you're down here. And so and you're reforesting the land.
Yes.
That's really cool. And I've been to your Choco tour. Like, we want to give like just a short kind of description of what is the Choco tour. If people, and if you're local, I 100% recommend going. He's wearing his Choco tour Chef Alex shirt. Just really fascinating information, like, and very well presented, and also lots of like, you get to try the different beverages. Sure. And
yes, as I mentioned before, even as a professional, if you're a chocolatier, you're going to start with a block of chocolate called cobertura. This is the professional way to do it. Cobertura in Spanish. Yes, so this is a block of chocolate. You can get it 100%, 70% from Switzerland, from Belgium, white, whatever. And what you're going to learn is how to raise the temperature, drop it rapidly. This is called tempering. Once you temper your cacao, you can do bonbons and whatever. This is the big trick of chocolaterie, is the tempering part, which is an art. Cacao has 6 families of fat, melting and solidifying at different points.
Wow.
So having everybody dancing at the same mambo, it's kind of difficult. It's an art, it's hard to do. But when I got here, I realized this is not it. What happens behind the cameras, before you get to the chocolaterie. So this is what I teach, yes? You're going to try the seed, try the fruit, see how a new farm is designed and done, learn about the fermentation process of cacao, which is fundamental, how to dry it. And then you're going to make your own piece of chocolate with sprinkles and almonds and whatever people choose. And then we talk about industrial chocolate, how the cocoa came to be, the butter. We tried the butter, which is amazing. It was like a full 300-degree visit to the backstage of chocolate.
Yeah, I remember like going through the whole process. Yes, you went through the whole process, and just the various stages of like, okay, when before the Spanish, this was traditionally how it was drank, which was, you said there was corn in it.
Yes, it was normally with corn. The one that I give is called chocoatl. It's not really Mesoamerican. We do not know what the Maya were drinking or the Aztec were drinking. This recipe comes from a doctor from Spain, 50 years after the fall of Mexico Tenochtitlan, 50 years after Moctezuma's death. This is the recipe that he writes, a drink called chocoatl.
That's the earliest description.
The first recipe ever written with the word cacao is this one, yes?
Wow.
It has chile, it has pimienta gorda, fat peppercorn, which you will know as allspice. It has a flower called Rosita de Cacao, hard to get. Cuarebria funebris is the name of the tree.
I'd like to get one.
Yes.
I have a pimienta gorda here.
Pimienta gorda. Well, the tree you can get it from in La Isla with Peter Krieg in the Caribbean. He has this plant. And it also has vainilla. So with all of these ingredients, hot and spicy, I give it to people. It's like, okay, the first sip is going to be a shock. Wait for the second sip and give it another chance.
I want some now. It's so good. I know.
It's really nice.
And
super energetic.
Yeah, and then you talk about going through the phases of after that. Then there was like the different cultures that introduced their own things to it. Like I don't remember what was the next one. I remember we then drank it out of like the Chorotega cups. But I don't remember. It was like a...
Okay, this is the first drink that we show. Well, the first drink that we show is with corn and cacao, which is called pinolillo. It's a cold drink. This is our welcome drink. Fantastic, very popular here and more popular in Nicaragua. A breakfast drink, very energetic, super powerful. Then we try the chocoatl. Then we try chocolate. Chocolate is, the Spanish people could not say chocoatl. They make a new drink with cinnamon and sugar.
Right.
The word chocolate, the word chocolate is that drink, and it was that drink for 350 years before someone made a bar or a cookie or whatever. That's chocolate. And so this we try also. This is the 2 most important historical drinks that we know.
And that's maybe more kind of commonly what we think of as like when you go to a cacao ceremony, it's usually some mix of the two.
This is the chocolate that you will get in Mexico, yes? The woman from Oaxaca selling the little blocks, that's it. Cinnamon and sugar. I was just with your neighbor Sarah Wu doing this
plant walk. The
first aid thing.
Right.
She was talking about cinnamon itself. All of the properties of this plant is amazing. Digestive, calms you down, warms you up. So all of this in conjunction with cacao is a fascinating medicine. It's fantastic for you.
We have vanilla, we have cinnamon, we have pimienta gorda, we've got cacao here. So they haven't, my cacao just started producing actually,
Cool.
so it's their second year. I'd love to have you back sometime to like do like a course on actually here where we can, you know, make home, or at least advise on how to make.
Ferment it and etc.
Yeah, do the whole thing. It'd be fun to like learn how to.
Like a tree to bar thing.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. Yeah, have that Finca Vida Verde chocolate.
That would be nice, yes.
And so then, and then you move on to, you know, without giving away too much, because as a whole, there's so much more information. We're just like summing up a whole lot of information. But then you go into like the processing of how chocolate bars started becoming, and
exactly,
and then the separation of the fat and the powder. Because I think this is a common thing that I didn't. This is what I learned. The most fascinating thing I learned was that people always ask me. I kind of knew that cocoa powder was different from cacao, because here in Costa Rica they sell a finely ground cacao, but it's not cocoa powder. It's actually cacao.
Exactly cacao, yes.
It's got the fat in it. Cocoa powder has had the fat mechanically removed.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes, cocoa powder is the residue, the leftover of the extraction of the butter. The butter is the real business.
Right.
You will find in this €200, $200 lotions from Saks Fifth Avenue, a little of that, yes?
Yeah.
So the cosmetic industry uses it. The leftover is the cocoa powder. This is what we have been using for so-called chocolate for 200 years. Yes?
Right.
Now we're using cacao again.
We are.
Yes. Well, if you got a real dark chocolate, it will be real cacao.
Amazing.
But this happened in 1994. Dark chocolate was invented 30 years ago, yes?
Wow.
When I was a kid, there was no such thing.
So dark chocolate, if you buy dark chocolate, it's using real cacao.
You have to read the label because it's tricky. If it says cocoa, then it's not real cacao. It can be 70%, but it's cocoa.
Cocoa, C-O-C-O-A.
Yes.
Versus C-A-C-A-O.
Yeah, that's the plant. Yes, that's the plant.
I mean, they could have maybe, you know, made it a little bit more obvious.
It was intentionally confusing because this guy who did this, a guy called Van Houten from Holland, from the Netherlands, he wanted to get rid of the leftover, so he needed to make it attractive. So he hired people to do medical tests and to do recipes with it. At this point, we started doing cookies and bars and blah blah blah. Before it was always drinks.
Okay, so I was gonna throw some shade on the Dutch, because first we have Sinterklaas and now we have this Van Houten guy. But you know, he did bring us chocolate bars, so okay, well,
yeah.
there's some good to it.
Yeah, he's still very famous. You can buy his products still in the Netherlands. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. And where do you think, like, I remember you mentioning during the thing, like, in your opinion, you've tried a lot of chocolates, I guess. What country, like, really has made the best chocolate?
This is really funny. When I opened the first chocolate tour, I invited a friend of mine from Switzerland, and I gave him 2 pieces of chocolate. And I told him, one of them is from Switzerland, one of them is from Costa Rica. Let's see if you can tell me which is which. So he was there and sees them and tries them and says, oh, this one's from Switzerland. Why? Because it's sweeter and it's more smoothie and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, they're both the same and they're both from Costa Rica. So it's all in your mind. I mean, there's no way a guy in Switzerland can make better chocolate than me in Costa Rica. If I have access to the plant,
right,
I can determine when to crop, how to ferment, etc. It's as stupid as thinking that I can make better wine with French grapes brought to me in Costa Rica, and I make the wine here better than the French.
Right.
They have the plant. Yes.
Right.
So there's no. We should be doing better chocolate, and in fact, Costa Rica is getting every time more tagged as a chocolate destination.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, and this was surprising to me, that one of the number one countries, like, exporters was it imported? No, exporters of cacao beans was, I think, Ecuador. No?
Ecuador, yes. Producers. The 2 largest exporters are the Netherlands and Germany, which have 0 trees, but they control the market. You know? But producers, yes, Ecuador is doing fantastic work. Here in America, we have also Peru doing a great job. Venezuela. Costa Rica, we're small, but we're good.
Right.
We do fantastic, fine cacao.
Yeah, it's like the finest quality.
Sure.
It's like if you wanted for a while, like, this is kind of an off-topic thing, but like I was living in Northern California, and they would say, like, you know, California had the best weed, right? The best cannabis, but like, if you knew, the people who knew that some of the best was really from Southern Oregon. Like, that was like a small market, smaller market, not as well known, but better better, really like deeper like culture. Similar.
Probably more time for detail, huh?
Yeah. Not as much like that's the thing. Anytime you're in a big producing country or state, it's like the idea is to get it because there's a lot of buyers, so you're trying to get it out much faster.
And you have this problem also for doing fine chocolate. Me, I have a 2-kilo machine. I can choose 2 kilos of fantastic cacao. If you're a big company, you need 30 tons of cacao. You cannot get picky. You get whatever you can.
Right.
Mediocre, bad, even badly dried, because they need the volume.
Well, this is a really good point. This kind of brings up that point of like, people are often drawn to name brand things or things that they're familiar with.
Sure.
But the reality is it's oftentimes those ones that you've never heard of that are more like the farm to table like yours or like any, some very small producer that's often going to be a much, or it may not be, you can't, it's not always better or worse, but it's going to be, it might be better. It actually might be more complex, and even though they're not as well known, not as wealthy or whatever, it's like,
I think this happens with everything. Wine, for instance, yes? Go to a small winery in Argentina, fantastic wine. Go to the big ones, and they're doing all of these shortcuts to make a lot of volume, and it's not good.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm excited. I read about one thing I wanted to mention, and I was going to ask you about this, is I read about that you went to the the Puerto Villa. There was an article about in the Tico Times, Tico Times is our local Costa Rican English-speaking newspaper. So as I looked your name up, I found this Tico Times article about the Puerto Viejo Chocolate Festival.
Oh, yes.
Maybe like 5 years ago or something. And you were doing an everything but mole. He said like everything.
I remember this guy.
Everything but mole presentation, which everyone he was like, I thought this guy was gonna do a mole presentation.
No, that was a mistake from the
from the producers, right? Which often happens.
Yeah.
But then
you cannot do a decent mole here.
No.
Period. No.
No, you mentioned that there was like I was surprised because I don't know much about mole. I know that there's cacao in mole and many moles. As I read that you said there's like 30 to 60 ingredients in a mole.
Yeah, a real mole will have 40 ingredients, maybe 100 ingredients. Yes.
Wow.
If you think about moles, there's 2,000 recipes of mole documented in Mexico.
Wow.
Out of the 2,000, only 7 have chocolate. Yes. So it's not a fundamental ingredient in mole.
That's funny because most people, I think, associate them.
Yes, because the most famous moles have chocolate. The Poblano, the Oaxaqueño, some of the Oaxaqueños, Oaxaca has 7 different ones. It's fantastic. And in my honest opinion, you cannot do this here. If you go into Mexico, you go to the market, you buy a paste already grounded for you, and then you tune it up, you add stuff, yes? But nobody would do it from scratch.
I want to go explore food in Mexico.
Oh, yes.
I want to because the one time I told you I was there at Chichen Itza, I was a raw foodist and I was eating a lot of salad.
Oh, okay.
And something in the water they were spraying, I left with the worst food poisoning, food thing. I was on the plane home and I was like dying. I had like 5 days of like laying in bed after that. I guess I kind of like justified it as like I was having some kind of spiritual experience from being in Chichen Itza.
Your demons or whatever.
I don't know. And my father had just passed, so it was like I was having fever. I was having fever dreams, and like
wow,
it was pretty powerful. But I think it was because I was eating a lot of raw food, and I think the key is when you're in Mexico, eat the well cooked stuff.
Yeah, especially in the Yucatan Peninsula, there's not many vegetable growing areas, so everything has to be imported or brought from the center of the country, which is quite far.
Okay. So if it's more fresh, local, it might be a little bit better.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in the Yucatan, well, it's super dry. There's no rain there.
Right.
No rivers.
Right. Yeah, it's super dry, huh? Okay. Okay. Well, what else? I guess we kind of hit it. What I wanted to ask you, was you were making something from the cacao husk.
Oh yes, this happened there in Puerto Viejo. Well, one day I was really bored. I was reading about cacao, and if you open the cacao, you have the seeds with the pulp. You can eat this. You can make a drink. But on the border, there's like this pulp that you can take out with a spoon. So I take this out with a spoon and use it like a sashimi. Yes, lemon juice, soy sauce, a little sesame oil. Fantastic stuff. It's really, really tasty.
Yeah, did you have to cut it out with a knife?
Well, you just can, scoop it out, yes. And then you have the husk itself, the shell. I said, okay, this is probably also good. So I grounded it up, tried it. It tastes a little like bran flakes. It's a very good fiber. So I put some flavor on top of it, yes, and turn it into a meat substitute. So what I did do was not the mole, but I told everyone in Puerto Viejo, I'm gonna cook for 4 persons with 2 rojos, with 2,000 colones. It's $4. So I went to the farmer's market, bought some spaghetti, some tomatoes, some garlic, made a sauce, used this thing as a meat substitute. I made like a bolognese sauce with the cacao husk. Everybody loved it. It was fantastic.
Wow.
The director from CATIA, this is the Research Center for Tropical Species, they are the curators of the genome of cacao in the planet. They have 12,000 varieties of cacao planted in their lands. It's really amazing. Wow. So he comes to me and says, you just revolutionized the world of cacao. 70% of the cacao is thrown away and discarded. We don't use it. If we can use it, it's fantastic.
So is that happening?
No. Another guy came and also said, this is fantastic. A guy called George Grant. He's very famous now. He's been doing chocolate for 3 generations. His family's there. So he can say, oh, this is fantastic. Changed your life. I meet him for the next festival, walking on the street. Hey, you're the chef. You told us this and that. Did you ever do it? No.
So there's a market waiting to be exploited.
It's too much work and it's not really interesting. Now, I posted this a little arrogantly. I wrote about it in Facebook. I said, uncharted. No one's ever done this. It's out of the map.
And somebody.
Yes, a guy called from Mexico. I have this... as a chef who's very competitive with me. He's like this, library rat. He's always reading and writing and stuff. So he makes a research. He comes back like a month later. Hey, that was not uncharted. Someone did it before you. Like, really? Okay, send me the paper. And the paper came from the woman in Peru who happened to be the head of the Ministry of Health of the country. Oh. So she took the thing, sent it to Switzerland, had all of the studies made, came back with a lot of pectins, like a gelatin that gets, all of the heavy metals, free radical, all of this crap in your body gets stuck there and gets, cleaned. You can use it as an industrial glue. It has vitamins and it has all of the properties of the seed of cacao. Yes, wow. 600 micronutrients, neurotransmitters. Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, and we just throw it away.
So maybe that'll change over time, though. I would like.
Well, you could do it at home if you have the cacao. You can try it. If you have a lot of vegan people coming in that may want to try something different.
Husk.
You can eat the husk. Yes. And just get rid of the very hard part on the top, and it's have like a spongy thing. This you can ground it up, dry it up, eat it, or eat it raw. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna try this.
Yeah,
this
sure.
Is amazing. Okay, and let's see. What there was something else. No, I don't know. I think we're good. This is. Oh, I wanted to talk about New Year's. You brought no. You did our cacao drink for New Year's.
Yeah, yes.
That was really special. Thank you so much. That was like we have every year at our Monkey Medicine New Year's party. We've had a cacao intention ceremony. I love the idea of using the cacao medicine with intention and using it as a catalyst for speaking intention into the divine, because as you mentioned, like the Costa Rican indigenous, they saw this as the divine, like
it is as divine as it gets. Yes.
And so if you're speaking your intentions into your cacao, and Sarah Wu, as you mentioned earlier, also has led our ceremony, so it was really great collaborating with you.
It was a big honor for me to work with you, to work with Sarah. I've been following her for a while. I've been following you for a while as well. And I really, really thank you for the honor.
Thank you.
This drink that we did was, it was a lot. It was 27 liters of water, 5 kilos of cacao, and we added allspice, cinnamon, and I'm missing one. Oh, some chile as well, guajillo, and I added a little bit of rosita de cacao. Not much because I didn't have enough.
No sugar, right?
0 sugar.
Yeah.
The sweetness comes from within.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that was a really special
thank you for
moment.
that. Yes, it was a fantastic party, by the way.
And so if people want to, we'll do it again next year. If people want to find Choco Tours, where can they find you online?
Okay, yes, just it's Choco, then little, how do you call
that'd be I don't know, dash.
Yes, like this, dash, Choco the tour. .com.
Okay.
Or just Google us. In the Google Maps, you can find us as well. If you want to come to the tour, you need to make a reservation. Give us a WhatsApp or call us before. We do tours every day at 9, 11, and 4 p.m. And yes, here we are.
I'm excited. I really highly recommend the Choco Tour. As I said, it was a really great experience. You'll learn a lot. And with that, I think we're going to close this episode. Thank you, Chef Alex Corral.
Thank you very much, Matthew, for inviting. I love to be here.
Yeah, I want to let's go walk around. I want to show you the cacao and stuff.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
We're going to close this episode. This is La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Human. Today, my guest was Chef Alex Corral of Choco Tours here locally in San Mateo. we released episodes on YouTube. You can watch this on YouTube every Tuesday at noon. We also are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Finca Vida Verde CR. We're on YouTube, Finca Vida Verde. And also we have a Patreon. This is completely run by our own love and donations. So please, if you love this content, please consider donating to our Patreon. Join our patron crew. We have special content on there, special songs, music, back behind the scenes stuff. That is patreon.com/La Vida Verde podcast. It's getting hot out here, so we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Pura vida.